Good evening, everybody. I would like to call the Wednesday, January 5th Douglas School Committee meeting to order. We will start with reading the Douglas Public Schools mission statement. The Douglas Public Schools offer diverse learning experiences that meet the academic, social, physical, and emotional needs of all students. We provide a safe, supportive, and challenging learning environment in which students may achieve academic success and personal growth. Decisions are made in the best interest of students. Now, if we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have a student representative from the high school with us tonight. Kate Wall, if you could come up.
Before the winter break, we had our annual winter skit. Each class made a short film, and the classes came down to watch the movie-making talents of their grade. We also had an ugly sweater pageant put together by the student council. Teachers showed off their ugliest sweaters and their amazing talents. The winners were Mr. Genesi, Mr. McGrath, Mr. Leonard, and Mr. Stan's comedy music quartet, and Miss Mulligan and Miss Bergeron's singing duo, with an honorable mention of Mr. Hillman and his daughter's fantastic dance routine. Sports had to pause over the break due to COVID, but the boys and girls basketball teams are playing tonight. Indoor track is also competing, and the cheerleaders have been working on new routines and cheers for the game. Peer leaders gathered up hundreds of donated items through the 12 Days of Giving fundraiser, and the Robotics Club sold tickets to win a t-shirt autographed by the superstar computer teacher, Mr. Tossi. Finally, the band and chorus had their first concert in 2 years in December, and the Drama Club will have their first show in 2 years when their performance of the play Clue premieres next week.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on to public comment and communications. The school committee welcomes public comment on items that are within the scope of the school committee's responsibilities. The public comment agenda item is reserved for this purpose. I'm not seeing anybody, unless Kate, you would like to make a comment also. you don't have to stick around if you're all set. Thank you. Yeah, go home.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Good night. Thank you, Katie.
All right. Moving on to any old business. Any new business? All right. So we'll move on to the superintendent's report.
Happy New Year, everyone. I'd like to start with the COVID update. Obviously, it's not a surprise to anyone that our numbers have been spiking locally at the state level and across the nation. So just a couple updates of what's happening here in Douglas. Just as a point of reference for numbers, back in October and November, we were averaging about 3 to 5 positive cases at any given time. In early December, we were in the mid-teens, 15, 16 cases at any given time. As of today, we were in the mid-50s for positive cases. So we've seen that increase from October to November, December, and now. That's obviously gone up a little bit since Monday as well. Our student absences have increased as a result of the number of cases we have, plus we have additional kids who are close contacts and parents keeping kids home out of an abundance of caution. We've seen an increase, obviously, in staff attendance as well. We're working to get coverage for classes. It hasn't been ideal. I'd be lying if I say it was perfect, but we're doing what we can do to make sure that we're staying open. There isn't a remote option this year, so if we do have to close school because we can't open, we don't have enough subs, we don't have enough teachers, it's just like a snow day. You have to make that day up at the end of the year in June. So we're trying to do what we can do to make sure we stay open. I want to talk about some of the mitigation things that we have in place and we did over vacation. Our custodians replaced all the air filters over vacation. We're doing that 4 times a year. We did a deep clean in all the classrooms and all the spaces over vacation. We talked to the custodians this week about doing a deep clean once a week. We're going to do that at least through the month of January, then reassess in February doing that. So we're going to do that once a week. We have our pool testing that people can still have access to. If you haven't signed up to that, please make sure you do. Test and stay is an option. So again, if you're found to be a close contact, if you test and stay, you can come to school. We have symptomatic testing available, so if you come to school and you don't feel good, at some point during the day, you can go to the nurse's office and be tested. Again, reminding people, if you're positive, stay home. We've had a couple of instances of positive kids coming to school knowing they were positive, and then we had to send them home. So please, 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 if you're positive, stay home. If you're symptomatic, stay home. So if we put those strategies in place, along with masking, social distancing, washing your hands, we can mitigate some of the issues we have. So again, just a reminder to people of what we've done and what we can do. I sent this out last week, just a reminder to everyone to be kind to our nurses. They're delivering the message about close contacts, and I understand it's a burden for families when you're identified, when your child's identified as a close contact and you have to stay home for 5 days. Parents have to take time off from work. We understand that. We're following the guidelines that DESE's given to us to stay open. They're just the messenger, so please, please, please be kind to our nurses. With that said, I'm happy to announce I had a conversation today with the CIC. They've been helping us. They're the company that's helped us do our pool testing, our test and stay, and they've offered us a lot of the Bionex testing. We want to make sure our nurses have support. So I spoke with them today, and here's what they're going to be able to do. We're starting to put these things in place over the next few weeks. The CIC is going to be able to send every day someone to each of the schools to help our nurses do the pool testing, the reflex testing, the test and stay, and any paperwork and data entry associated with any one of those 3 programs. So they can be in the schools every day, taking care of that for the nurses, so then the nurses can do some other things and hopefully alleviate some of their stress. When I talked to the CIC, what happens if we get to a point where it's a Monday and there isn't any test and stay and we're not doing pool testing? They said, well, then the nurses or the people can then go to another building and assist, or they can help do some paperwork, or they can help doing some inventory, or they can help do some ordering. So even if there isn't any testing to be done, there are some tasks for them to do. The other thing the CIC is going to provide to us is administrative support in each of the schools. They asked for about a 2-week window to get that in place, but this administrative support is going to help do all the contact tracing. They can do all the phone calls and the emails to families if a child's found to be COVID positive or a close contact. This administrative person is going to be doing the phone calls, and then they can also help out with the data entry. So again, this will take some of the burden off the nurses to allow them to do some other things and provide them some supports. Great thing about all this is it's free. So it doesn't cost us anything, it's from the state. As you saw last week, DESE's changed its guidance from isolation from 5 days, from 10 days to 5 days, provided that when you come back, you wear a mask, you monitor your symptoms, and obviously you're symptom-free. Mr. Romano's working with teachers. He's thinking about canceling midterm exams here at the high school. He went back and forth with it. He's talking to staff, and part of his concern is with the elevated amount of kids being out with being a close contact or being COVID positive. Kid comes back, they miss seven midterm exams. You have 60, 70, 80 kids out. It's a lot of makeup work, and it's a lot of stress for kids who already missed 10 days of school because of quarantining or being homesick, then to come back and have the burden of making up 7 major exams. So he's working with staff about canceling midterm exams. We just started today. We're limiting sports fans for games just to household members in order to keep it a little bit smaller inside the gymnasiums, but we still want to make sure that kids and parents and families can come see kids play. And then finally, we had a quick conference call with the commissioner. We know that the mask mandate from DESE was supposed to expire on the 15th. We were hoping he'd say something today, but he says he's going to make a decision next week on the mask mandate. My guess, since he handed out over 250,000 masks to all teachers in schools in the Commonwealth, we're going to see an extension of that, but we have to wait for him to officially announce it next week. That's where we stand to date with COVID. I tried to be as comprehensive with my report, but I'm sure I missed a couple of things. People have questions, happy to answer them.
You don't know this answer, but why do you think they're waiting on that?
I have no idea. We've already had a couple of calls with him. He said, we're still waiting. We're going to announce it in January. We're going to announce it in January. I don't know if he's going to pair it with another announcement. I don't know why he's waiting till next week.
I know it's still a work in progress, but do you know if Mr. Romano has an alternative plan in place besides midterms to, I'd hate to see kids get to the end of of a term, and it turns out that they haven't had enough like dipstick tests to see that they're accumulating the knowledge.
So that's, he sent a survey out to staff today to get some input. I didn't take a look at the survey, but I know he sent something out to the staff to get some feedback, so I'm sure that's part of it. Obviously, for semester classes, the midterm is the final, so he's going to do that. But for the year-long classes, there wouldn't be a midterm.
Right, okay.
I think that's sort of my question too, you know, in all this time away from school, like, you know, what's the average time out of school kids have had? That's what I would really love to know, you know, over the course of the year with all the quarantines and things like that. And, you know, our goal this year is to catch up from last year, and, you know, are we still on track to do that?
So one of the things we have, principals are coming next week to talk about the remediation programs we have in place and what we're doing and looking at some of the data. So they'll be able to answer those questions a little more in-depthly than I can tonight. That's where we're at. For COVID. In one of the calls, as part of the accountability rating that we have from DESE, part of it is attendance. So there was a conversation today as to asking DESE not to hold schools accountable for attendance, because schools were getting dinged if they had less than, I think it was 90, kids missed more than 10% of the school year. And now that's out of our control. When you're telling kids to stay home if they're symptomatic, when kids are quarantining, you could quickly have a kid reach 15, 20 absences if they've had it multiple times, and that's beyond our control. So that conversation's happening at the state level to make sure schools aren't penalized as a result of the pandemic.
How about work being sent home during that time? Is that, you know, are kids getting enough work to be doing stuff at home? Like,
So I know teachers are sending home work. I think enough work depends on who you ask.
Yeah.
Kids are gonna say we're always getting too much.
Right.
Parents wish there was a little bit more, so it's that fine line, but teachers are sending work home for kids, because again, we don't want them to fall behind. And with Google Classroom and kids having Chromebooks, they have the ability to stay caught up.
I wonder if that's a possibility where there could be more than enough on Google Classroom where they don't have to complete it all, but at least there's something there if they're needing something to fill the time that they're home.
And I think next week when the principals come in, we can see what's going on in the different buildings. I know some teachers have phenomenal Google Classroom sites where they post their work, they post their assignments. I was talking to a teacher on Monday about it, and he was saying that he had a couple of kids out, and he probably spent about half hour, 45 minutes just replying to 3 or 4 emails, sending work to kids that they wanted because they were going to be out. So I know teachers are on top of it in terms of making sure kids have work so they don't fall behind. Anything else? All right. Next is an update on the blueprint. Again, this is our strategic plan for the year. We had identified 5 priority areas: academic excellence, community partnership, the well-being of all, local and global citizenship, and growth mindset. Kind of provided a snapshot of some of the things that we've done to date. Again, this is not a completely exhausted list, but just want to highlight some of the things for the committee and the community, and then open it up to questions at the end. And I'm really proud of the work that we've done here, that teachers have done here, that our leadership team has done to implement some of these things and bring these programs in. Again, if you look at the list and what we've done, and bear in mind that we've had to catch kids up, we've had to deal with the pandemic, we're still doing mass breaks, we've been really busy here, and we're doing some phenomenal things for kids. So, under academic excellence, each of our schools have common planning time. Sometimes it's weekly, sometimes it's twice a month, depends on the building, but that's a time for staff to get together and talk about kids, talk about programming, talk about what's going on inside classrooms, align curriculum. The elementary school and the primary school are working with a literacy specialist. They've come in already twice to meet with teachers. Focus so far has been on interactive read aloud and small group instruction. Again, things that teachers do, but just providing them additional resources and additional tools to add to how we're already doing that to strengthen the experience for kids. Last year, we were able to purchase through a grant. We're going to do the same thing again at the elementary and the primary school. More books for kids. The more kids read, the better they do. And it's great to be able to buy books that are diverse, that are rich, that are authentic, that kids like, that kids get excited about, and they give kids the option that it may not be, you may put a book in front of a kid to drill a topic, the kid may not be interested in it, to give the child the ability to have some options to go back and get a book that interests them is so important. Our special education department has received some grant money to purchase some research-based curriculum for our sub-separate programs. So again, getting resources in the hands of teachers. Continuing along with special education, we've had 3 teachers do the workshops for Wilson language reading, and we've had 1 teacher accepted into a practicum group for Wilson Level 1 certification. And again, what Wilson reading does is it helps teach kids the skills to make sure that they can read. It's a wonderful program. We talked a lot about it last year. Principals will talk about it next year, next week. Our remediation program, our intervention blocks. We've expanded Title I and push in services at the elementary and the primary school. The middle school has an academic development center. Every time I walk by there, there's 2, 3, 4 kids in there with Miss Campbell doing some work, catching up. And Mr. Romano here offers an after-school club on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We were talking about it today. He said business is booming, and I was shocked that we had that many kids staying after school. Mr. Romano tried a different approach. Instead of asking kids if they wanted to stay after for extra help, he's calling parents and asking parents if they want their kids to stay after for extra help. So he's very, very, very pleased with how that's going. And again, we've done a lot of work with data, analyzing data, and using data to inform instruction. This year, we purchased the Renaissance Star Program. Mr. Bell's doing his second benchmark assessment this week. Ms. Socha's doing hers the end of January, the beginning of February. They're going to come and present to the school committee what this program looks like, what the data looks like, and how teachers are using the data to inform instruction inside the classroom. So that's some of the stuff we've done around academic excellence. For community partnerships, as I said earlier, a community member showed me this grant. We applied for it. We were accepted into the Massachusetts Family and School Partnership Initiative. This group's met with the leadership team probably a half dozen times. They interviewed kids, they interviewed community members, they interviewed staff, and they're putting together a plan tailored to Douglas for how we can increase partnerships with the community. So our last meeting is the end of January, and in February or March, I'll present to the committee in terms of what their findings were. Well-being of all, we all know the importance of the social emotional well-being of our students and our staff. We'll talk a little bit about this next on the agenda, one of the things we're doing. But at the school committee meeting back in October, we implemented an enrichment program at the middle school. Still hitting some road bumps to get that up and running, but our elementary program is flying high. It's doing awesome. Mr. Bell said more kids and more programs than he's ever seen, which is great. We've had some programs in here for kids. We've had Teen Truth in. We've had the Worcester County DA's Office for Internet Safety. The elementary schools held monthly community meetings to celebrate kids and have fun. Middle school, building off of the success of Student of the Month last year, is implementing that, focused in on academic achievement, good citizenship, and grit, plus all the other things we do in morning meeting, we do in advisory, so on and so forth. Local and global citizenship, we've done some stuff with. You may have seen it at Veterans Day and at Thanksgiving and the holidays. A lot of our schools did stuff to help out families and kids in town. We had some great programs, one here at the high school and one at the primary during Veterans Day. The high school council is doing an abbreviated version of Portrait of a Graduate, again, to talk a little bit more about that community piece. First grade and the fifth grade, Mr. Bell and Ms. Socha talked about this, have done activities. They're doing one on the 28th of this month. They're doing themes once a month, so they're doing that. And then finally, growth mindset, and again, this is kind of a collaboration, a compilation of everything. The elementary school this year, Mr. Aronian saw it at a conference he went to. All the kids and all the teachers set goals, and they posted their goals in the hallway. So they're doing goal setting with people. We had Jesse Green, the machine, come in, present to 4th, 5th graders and middle school kids about promoting hard work and never giving up. And again, a lot of work in common planning time, looking at assessment and instruction and curriculum, but more around that assessment piece and how can we promote that growth mindset in what we're doing with assessment? So, again, not a complete list, but again, just a snapshot of some of the stuff we've done to try to meet those goals and make sure we're striving for our academic excellence, building those partnerships, taking the SEL piece into account. We want our kids to be good local and global citizens, and finally, building that growth mindset. So happy to answer questions on it and looking forward to what we build off of from now until June on this. And the last thing I have, this came from, conversations that we've had here in this meeting, conversations with staff, hearing what's going on, and I'm calling it recharge weekends. And it's just something that we can do here to try to make sure that our teachers and our kids have the ability to disengage, relax, focus, because what's going on with the social emotional well-being of everyone, especially during the pandemic, has been tough. So I'm looking to implement these once a month for the month of February, the week of August 4th, March, the week of August 11th, April 1st, and then finally May 6th. And the purpose of this is to have kids and staff leave here on Friday and not worry about school until they get back on Monday. Give them the opportunity to disengage, to recharge, to refocus, to clear their minds. And this is paired with most months. February, you have the recharge weekend and February vacation. March, you have it in the middle. April, you have the weekend and then April vacation. And then May, you have the recharge weekend and Memorial Day. So trying to build time into the calendar where kids and teachers can clear their minds and recharge. We're seeing it, we're hearing it, we're feeling people are burnt out, people are tired. So how this will work is this way, although teachers are under no obligation on weekends to do emails, to correct tests, to prep exams, to work on projects, they're all dedicated and feel obligated to do so on weekends. So what I'm going to ask teachers is, I'm giving you the pass, don't do anything on weekends. Don't answer emails, don't look at emails, don't correct tests. For families, if you're going to email a teacher a question on a Friday, a Saturday, Sunday, know that they're not going to get back to you on a Monday. If a teacher gives a test or a quiz on a Thursday or Friday, know that you're probably not going to get it back like you typically do on a Monday, maybe Tuesday and Wednesday. Let teachers leave for the weekend and not worry about checking emails 3-4 times a day, correcting tests, watching the Patriots game while they're correcting exams. Give them the ability to just disengage for the weekend. And then for kids, I want them to be able to do the same thing. In terms of athletics and activities, over the weekend, we're not going to do any practices on Saturdays and Sundays. We did throw the caveat in here that if we have a game on a Monday, we want to make sure the kids can practice on Sunday before the game, but have the practice be after 3 o'clock so kids can sleep in, they can relax, they can do things with families, and then come to practice. Asking teachers, no tests on Monday or Tuesday, no quizzes on Monday and Tuesday, no major exams on Monday and Tuesday, no homework assignments on Monday. Allow kids to leave here on Friday, go home and relax. The only caveat here is for AP classes. So we understand that when kids have to take AP exams, there's a curriculum they have to go through. They're taking the test. That test has a lot of implications for college, financial. So we want to make sure we allow teachers and kids the ability that if they need to do homework for AP classes during that time, that's still ongoing. But other than that, we want kids and teachers to leave on Friday, relax, disengage, recharge, and then come back on Monday. I'll send this out to parents. Obviously tell parents that if something major happens, contact myself, contact one of the principals. We'll check emails if something major happens. But if you're emailing a teacher to say this happened, they may not see the email. Send it to a member of administration and we'll look at it and then relay the message when we get to work on Monday. So looking to roll this out on February, again, just something to help out our kids who are stressed, help out our staff who are stressed, and kind of take that into account.
So the Friday dates are included, meaning that there wouldn't be homework, like that's when it starts after?
So it starts Friday, at the end of the day on Friday. So when kids leave on Friday, they wouldn't have any homework for Saturday, Sunday, and come back on Monday. So Thursday night, they might have some homework rolling into
Yep.
Friday, yep.
I think that's great. I think it's great, and I hope it's helpful. Any questions?
I think, I wish it could be for the AP people, but at the same time,
Yeah,
at least they have those other classes that they don't have to worry about, and that'll help a little bit.
Correct.
It is
if, the-
stressful. These kids pile up AP classes like crazy.
I mean, if a high school student's taking 6 or 7 classes and 2 or 3 are AP, this doesn't mean that they will get homework, but if they do, it's for 3 classes, not all 6 or 7. Correct.
Will teachers actually be accessible for those students, though, if they need them?
I don't know. I don't know what the level of accessibility has been now for teachers and how AP teachers conduct themselves with kids, if they frequently check their emails with kids, or if they have a Google chat going on. So I would imagine that if they're going to assign homework, whatever systems they've have in place now would be in place at this time as well.
How does this affect COVID reporting?
The COVID reporting?
Yeah.
Contact the principal.
Okay.
Contact the principals.
Anybody else? I just wanted to hop back to the blueprint for just a second.
sure.
To say that, I'm just really happy to see that all of these people in the district are putting in this work to not just get through the day. Because I think that for the past, we're closing in on 2 years now, that it's just, been hard enough to get through the day. So I'm appreciative of all of you and you, Dr. Vieira, for, working on this and having some structure to continue to grow what's going on in Douglas. And just want to say thank you to everybody who's put their time into this.
Thank you. I know it's appreciated.
Okay, so moving on to the school committee and subcommittee report, accounts payable report.
Okay, so 2 warrants, warrant 24 SCHL 22 and dated 12/23/2021, that was last year. Food services, the warrant totals was $11,098.89. And then the second warrant that was approved was 26 SCH 22 dated 12/22/2021. And that was a mixture of all different things. And that warrant total was $51,291.78.
Any questions? Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. We could all take a look at the December 8th, 2021 meeting minutes. Pretty short. Anybody see anything? Okay. If not, I would be looking for a motion to approve the December 8th, 2021 school committee meeting minutes.
Moved.
Motion by Lisa,
Seconded?
second by Monique. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to the December 15th school committee meeting minutes. So I didn't notice anything wrong with this, but I'm just wondering if Lauren doesn't need to provide us with the entire packet from before. I don't remember us doing that in the past.
Okay.
So just to save trees.
To save paper?
Save paper, save
Already got
time.
that.
Yeah, I mean, like, we've got the physical restraint thing coming up next, and I think it's in here too. So. 6 of them? Yeah. But I didn't see anything. Anybody else? Right. Then I would be looking for a motion to approve the December 15th, 2021 school committee meeting minutes.
So moved.
Moved by Lisa,
Seconded?
second by Monique. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, they are approved. And moving on to the second reading of the JKAA physical restraint policy revision.
Mrs. Sobolewski's not with us today, so I don't know I know the committee said at the last meeting they would be looking at the policy. I don't know if questions came up that I could forward to her, that we can be ready for for our third reading next.
I just skimmed over it, and I had a question about, now I have to try to find it. There was a 30-minute report in here, the kids couldn't be physically restrained for longer than 30 minutes, but then following that, it uses 20 minutes. Where if you need a longer restraint, you'd have to contact the principal if you needed it longer than 20 minutes. I'm wondering if that, to be consistent, 30 minutes throughout.
If you forward that to me in an email, I'll have Mrs. Sobolewski look at it, and then if it's a typographical error, we can address it at the next meeting. If it's just the way it should be, she can explain it, the rationale why.
Okay. Yeah, I'll find, it says 20 minutes in the latter parts. I'll find where it says 30 minutes and just note that page.
I assume we can email Mrs. Sobolewski in the meantime if we find anything else. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So then we can move on to the second reading of JB Equal Education Opportunity Policy Revision. I assume same situation here.
Correct.
Did anybody see anything in the meantime that? Okay. Then that brings us to the end of our consent agenda, and we will move on to the School Business and Operations Manager's Report.
I don't have anything this evening, except to, we are working on the FY23 budget to get that moving along. That seems to be moving along quite well. Very happy about that. We're also, as a district, putting together a capital plan for when the town requests it. We're kind of doing that ahead of time. We'll be presenting that hopefully sometime soon to the committee as well to review, just to see not only what we'll be asking for or putting on for FY23, as we do for the yearly town meeting process, but also the 5-year capital plan.
Okay.
And then we are going out to bid for bus transportation and for our HVAC, 2 big IFBs I'm working on as well. So I'm hoping to get those out by the end of January, and doing this because of everything going on with everything out there. So, but that's it, and I don't have any transfers or reclassifications this evening.
Great, thank you, Cory.
Thank you.
All right, any topics not anticipated? And we do not need executive session tonight?
We do not.
Okay. Then I would be looking for a motion to adjourn the school committee meeting at 7:33. Motion by Lisa. Second by Monique. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you, everybody.